Good morning, East Alabama and West Georgia. Welcome back to the campus of Southern Union State Community College in Opelika, Alabama. Gorgeous, beautiful day for you to come by and tour the Tunnel to Towers Foundation 9/11 Never Forget mobile exhibit. We could not ask for better weather. We do have a big tent here in the parking lot right in front of the mobile exhibit where you can get in out of the shade. So you don't have to stand out in the sun, and that's kind of the staging area. And as they funnel people through, then you come out of the tent and go through the 1,100 square foot mobile exhibit. And this is here for the first time ever in the state of Alabama, and also for the first time ever, my good friend Chief Jim Duty from Lafayette, Alabama, the fire chief there in Lafayette. And sir, before I pump you full of questions and you tell us all about this exhibit, let me thank you from the bottom of my heart, you and Jeff Monroe both, for inviting me to be a part of this. I've already made this statement several times this morning. If I got in my car and left right now, the trip's already been well worth it. It was worth it before I ever got in this morning. The surreal moments as the sun was coming up over this incredible exhibit in the entire area that you guys have set up here was just incredible. Thank you for asking me to be here today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and thank you for what you do. Yeah, the information that you put out, I was just joking a little bit earlier, calling Mr. Cantori Jr.
I take that as a compliment.
So if we're listening to you, we know something's good, but we appreciate you coming out here. Your voice is just as important as this event that we do throughout the season, especially when the nasty weather comes. But no, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for promoting this like you have. It's been a lot of work. We've been working on this project since April of last year.
Wow.
This is obviously, as you can see, and you toured and looked, it's nothing you can put together in 2 days. And
right.
I got to thank the city of Opelika, Southern Union campus police, and the maintenance crews, keeping us up and running, without hiccups. And it's been a blessing. And unfortunately for us, we're confronted, brother, with a generation of kids that know little to nothing about 9/11, and we all made that promise 24 years ago that we would never forget. And when I had reached out to Tunnel to Towers and asked them about, hey, how do we do this, and in the end of the conversation, they were like, hey, Chief, do you know, we've never been to Alabama. Wow. I'm like, what do you mean we've never been to Alabama? I said, no,
I didn't realize that.
No, it has never been anywhere in Alabama. So I said, we're about to change that, and we want it on 9/11.
It is important to learn history and remember history, and we've done a horrible job at that when it comes to this event. I said this earlier, I think up until that event we were so complacent because we just never in a million years imagined that we could be attacked on our own soil. That's just not something that America has ever dealt with before. And so the unity that pursued after that happened, I mean, neighbors loving neighbors, brothers loving brothers, I mean, it was just incredible at the feeling and the sense of taking care of one another. And we have gotten so far away from that just a mere 24 years later.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm originally from New York, so this is very personal for me, and it's still fresh in our minds what happened. But when you look at how tragic that day was, I've had people tell me where they were in every conversation, even you and I, when we first started talking about it, I've had people tell me what they were wearing.
Yeah.
And as tragic as that day was, how amazing was September 12th and the days, months, and weeks that followed that brought this country together.
Yes.
It didn't matter what your political affiliation was, race, color, religion. We were all united.
Absolutely.
And that was one of my goals with the help of these amazing FDNY guys that we've been so close to the last couple of days on this event. I mean, we've had 2,058 people come through just in the first 2 days.
And little did you know when you started this process, when you contacted Tunnel to Towers, about coming to, number one, you didn't realize it had never been to Alabama, but little did you know at that time the events almost a year later that would take place in this country and make us realize or think back to that time.
Yeah.
September 12 and beyond, when this country was so united. And look at where we are now. That makes this symbol of unity even more important, maybe, than it was the day it happened.
Yeah, and being able to see people flying American flags on their cars, on the mailboxes, on their homes, everybody was brother, sister, and that's one of the things that we really tried to do with the amazing walking path that we put together in Memorial. And I told everybody, I can't promise you a Disney Fast Pass when you come here, but we wanted to set up things and have that and do that while they were here. We got food trucks today. The Alabama Fire College is here. EMA support. I'm afraid to start mentioning names because I know I'll miss something, but the whole fire, police, emergency services, our brotherhood and sisterhood is stronger because of what we've done here. 24 years ago, we promised never to forget. And it's our job to educate.
Well, and like I said, and I think that's what got me emotional earlier today, because all of a sudden I remembered what it felt like to go through what happened that day, and then the unity and the love for everybody. Like you said, it doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on, whether you're the color of your skin, your religious belief. It just, after 9/11, it did not matter.
Well, and I know you've mentioned it when you were promoting this event, that history will repeat itself if we don't learn.
Yep.
And that's what I'm afraid of, is something, hopefully not like this ever happens again, but, we can't forget about it, and it's important for us to educate and to have the ability to have scheduled 1,700 eighth grade students to come through here, because talking to the superintendents and principals and school boards, this was really the day or the grade that everyone starts really digging into it. So every school that signed up got access to the Tunnel to Towers 9/11 Institute's webpage with the curriculum for the 9/11 events. So those schools have been talking about it before they come here. The best part about this, which is to me is priceless, is you're not just going to a museum and getting a guide from a museum worker. Nothing against museum workers, right? But you are getting a tour from FDNY guys that worked that day. That's priceless.
Absolutely. You can't get a better tour guide than someone that was there on the ground when it actually happened.
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk a little bit about what is actually here at Southern Union. And again, don't forget, if you're coming in, and I've been all the way around the campus, I think the easiest access is off of Lake Condi Road and come into the parking lot right next to the exhibit. Then you have a front gate. People are kind of checked in there, and then they come over to the big holding area, which is a huge tent with chairs and tables, and you kind of hang out there under the shade. And I noticed one of the New York Fire Department guys is over there talking to people under the tent, kind of, I guess, prepping them for the tour that'll take place in just a few moments. And then you go through the 1,100 square foot exhibit. Kind of tell us what you can expect when you go inside.
A sombering experience with firsthand accounts.
Wow.
You're going to hear stuff you probably didn't know. And these guys take the time. This is not about pushing numbers through. They'll answer all your questions. I mean, it's just amazing. And I don't want to say what's inside. I want you to come and find out what's inside, especially you, because you're going through that before you leave.
You're absolutely right, I am. I wouldn't miss that for the world. Now, you also were talking about just a few moments ago, the trail, the walk that is to the right of where we're set up. We've got a camera up top kind of looking out across there. Explain what you're going to experience out there.
So we have a memorial walk set up along the walking path on the backside of Southern Union's campus. And there's one other thing I wanted to point out, and you'll see it when you go walk there. There's a flag that's been planted in the middle of the field out there, and that was through a donation from Flags for Vets. He came out here, he said, I'm putting a flag out here tonight. Wow. So that walking path is lined with the photographs of the 343 firemen that were killed, the New York City police officers, the Port Authority officers, and the court officers that were killed that day. But the two photographs that I wanted to point out in front of the pavilion there's two photographs. One is Father Michael Judge. He is listed as the first casualty of 9/11. He was killed by debris while giving last rites to a firefighter. The photograph to the right is Stephen Siller, who this memorial is based off of and after for his heroic efforts running through the Battery Tunnel with 60 pounds of gear, and he died with his squad. So all I can do is, this has been a tough week for me, but it's important, and a lot of people had a lot of hands in this, and our sponsors, the City of Opelika, Southern Union's campus, and the countless number of volunteers that we had, and 99% of our volunteers are firemen or EMS workers.
That's just truly amazing. It's a beautiful day. It's a great day to come out and experience this. I mean, it's been 24 years. This is the first time it's ever been in Alabama. So, it may be quite some time before it comes back to this state. So one could say this may be a once in a lifetime opportunity if you live in Alabama, East Alabama, West Georgia, to experience the Tunnel to Towers Foundation 9/11 Never Forget mobile exhibit. And I'm telling you, it's just a special place. You guys have created an awesome atmosphere, and it's just so peaceful here. There's a light breeze today. The sun is out, beautiful cobalt blue skies, just a spattering of clouds off to the west. Couldn't ask for better weather.
I think you had something to do with that.
Well, like I told you earlier, I just tell the weather. Somebody else with a little bit more authority than me actually makes it happen. But I appreciate that. I'll take the Cantori comment. That's certainly flattering to me. What he said earlier was everybody knows that if you're broadcasting, it's about to get ugly, and he's right. But I do appreciate that, and I thank you guys for all the hard work you do. I have a little bit of a different angle on all of this because I've been in public safety in some shape, form, or fashion right at 42 years. I've been in the fire services, emergency management, emergency communications, EMA. I've done it all, and even law enforcement for about 10 years. So I understand that the other side of the fence and what people, responders, and not just responders, Chief, it's the families of the responders too, because you can't be a responder and be effective without that support group, which is your family.
Yeah, no, and I shout out to my wife who's put up with me for this last year and a half, and it's be nice to have you back soon. Yeah. And not only that, with the city and the employees and the mayor and the guys and gals that work for me up in Lafayette, knew this was big, and had my back and supported me, and I couldn't have asked for a better bunch of people to do it. EMA's been fantastic. The city, the staff, the mayor. There hasn't been one group that I've spoke with or talked with that said no. Yeah. And that was humbling. Yeah. I got to tell this story. So, of course, these guys got here on the 10th. We had that beautiful honorary escort in from Lynette's Welcome
Center. I saw the video and showed some
East
of it.
Alabama.
That was crazy.
Lynette had stuff on the overpass. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful. And we got here and we went out to dinner with these guys that night. And we went to Southern Oaks at the Marriott because that's where they're staying, because these guys were more than the Cherry Motel arrangements,
sure,
if you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
So we went out to dinner, and I kind of sat at the end of the table and listening to them, firehouse banter back and forth, and the jokes. We weren't sitting at a fancy restaurant, brother. Where I was looking down at these guys, we were sitting at a firehouse kitchen table.
Yeah, that's cool.
Instantly.
Yeah.
And that was such a comforting feeling for me, knowing the big day we had planned for the next day. And our ceremony went to the second as scripted, and it was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
It was. Would love to have been here for that. And by the way, thank you, sir, for your service.
Thanks.
You were in Afghanistan, you said 13 years?
13 years in Afghanistan. I did 5 years in the Balkans after the war in Kosovo ended. Came back home to Florida, which I was previously living for a couple of years, and they called me to go to Afghanistan. And I said, yeah, I'll go for a year or two, So I was working for the U.S. Army 13 years later, and I left as the fire chief of Bagram Air Base.
Wow. And you've been the chief in Lafayette, you said 7?
7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
Thank you for what you do, and I'll always be indebted. Great amount of gratitude to you for asking me to come be a part of this today. I really have enjoyed it so far. We're just getting started. It's going to be a great day.
This is just the beginning. And I would love to see if I can get an opportunity. And if you have the time, I would love to have one of the FDNY guys come over here if we can make that happen.
We'll get that done. We certainly will. And we want you to be here with us today. You got plenty of time. Exhibit runs until 7 o'clock tonight. And then what's this after today? What is the schedule for the rest of the stay?
So it's 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. tonight. Today, Sunday will be the same, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then Monday and Tuesday we have the school hours from 8:30 to 2 blocked for just students.
Okay.
And then we'll be open up to the public from 3 to 6 Monday, and it'll be the same on Tuesday.
Okay. Then
we got a hard stop at Tuesday at 6 o'clock because Mr. Billy Puckett, who's the coordinator, he's got another place to go to, so we'll be packing up.
We got to pack up and get out of here.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So look, folks, you've got just a couple of days in your opportunity to experience this once-in-a-lifetime event here in Opelika will be gone. So I hope that you will make your plans to come by. Again, like I said, if you're not a football fan and you have no interest in what's going on right down the road from where we're sitting, then you really would do yourself a favor by coming by during the ball game. I have a sneaky feeling that after the ball game, this place is going to be wrapped up.
Yeah, and I had a lot of people call me last night. When do you recommend coming? And exactly what you just said. If you're not watching the game, I do have to admit we do have a little tailgate section set up back here.
Good.
So it'd be hard to keep my volunteers under control, but we'll do our best.
It'd be hard to keep me here if you don't have television going somewhere. I got to watch it too.
But I would definitely recommend somebody come and bringing the family during the game time before the rush gets here, because we're anticipating some pretty big numbers.
Yep. Okay. All right. Thank you, Jim. Chief, thank you for coming by and talking to me. We'll talk to you again before we get out of here. Again, I want to remind everybody to come by today and go through the exhibit, the museum, and also walk the Memorial Walk and learn about our history and teach our children our history so that we do not, there's lots of bad history, but it's okay to talk about bad history because that's what our children need to understand so that we don't repeat it. That's the whole purpose behind this. So bring those kids by, let them experience this museum and learn about what happened on that horrific day on September the 11th, 2001.